the 4 styles in boxing that you should try to not emulate when starting out because it's going to get you severely hurt or even knocked out. Hello Earthlings, Ultraviolet Ronald from the Bronx here, and today we're going to get to the 4 styles in boxing that you should try to not emulate, especially when starting out, because it can get you severely hurt or even knocked out. Starting off with Mr. 50-0 as number 1, Floyd Mayweather. Everybody loves the Philly shell style. I don't know what it is, but people just love this style. This style brings a lot of eyes to the sport because of its elusiveness and how he's able to just dictate and control the pace of the fight in that coiled type cobra looking style. But you have to keep in mind, this is years and years of training brought behind that. Very few people in the sport is able to carry that style over. James Toney was able to do that. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was able to do that. Floyd Mayweather adopted it and made it his own. He combined that Philly shell with the high guard as well to kind of take the confidence out his opponent. But when you're doing the Philly shell, if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get hit from all sides. You're not gonna be able to evade quickly and appropriately. And plus, the power is not gonna be there in the punches as much as you think because you're not able to use the leverage of your whole body to go into it. So when you're in that Philly shell, you wanna make sure the lead arm is kind of plastered on to your rib cage. So if they hit you here, it's being absorbed on the elbow, okay? Now when it comes to the chin, if they were to throw across, you wanna keep it in the nook of your shoulder. And as you see the cross coming your way and you have your eyes open, you're not being afraid and flinching, you're rolling back and up at the same time with your chin being in the nook of your shoulder. And that's gonna help too when trying to catch the right hook. But with the right hook, you more wanna move with it and flow with it so it doesn't really connect at all. Now with the jab, if they're throwing a jab, you're catching it with your rear hand. They throw a left hook, you're catching it right here, or you can dip here, dip, and move out the way. You know, but when Floyd Mayweather used the Philly shell, he knew what he was doing. He had cat-like reflexes. He's been training at this art since he was a little kid. Like his intuitiveness when it comes to perfecting that style and showcasing it in those high competitive bouts is apparent because people always thought they had it figured out. They had a blueprint on how to knock him out or hurt him, but very few people were able to do that. But the number 1 style to try to not emulate, if you can to the best of your ability, is the Mayweather style. It will get you hurt. Now, number 2, the Mike Tyson style. I don't know what it is, but people like to go into the Mike Tyson style and try to do it in the gym, but they don't understand the purpose behind the style and why it was created. First off, the style was created for shorter people in their weight classes and create a more rhythm-based style. So it goes with offense and defense at the same time, but in more of a jailhouse rock, aggressive type movement. Because in doing so, you're more likely to intimidate your opponent. You're more likely to get more leverage. But the thing that sucks about it is that you're super square. And if you don't have the fundamentals in play, the style will actually work against you because you're being stuck with learning something that doesn't necessarily bring all the basics in to the actual style itself. Because when you're moving, look how square I am. This is a big no-no. If we're not in MMA, you shouldn't be fighting this square with your opponent unless you know what you're doing because everything is open to get hit. And then at the same time, your hands are here instead of right here, right? Instead of blocking the side of your head. So by keeping your hands in front of you and you're square, guess what's open? Your temples. And if you get hit in the temple, you're more likely to lose your balance and get knocked out. But when you're doing a style, that's why you have to exaggerate the slipping, right? So this is called the windshield wipers. When you're slipping left/right, it's more exaggerating because you have to completely get out the way to maximize a shift or to maximize the power that you can drive into the blow as you are throwing it. But it takes a lot of stamina. It takes a crazy amount of training for that to become fluid and at the same time muscle, okay? Most of the people who have that style, David Tua kind of had it a little bit, Pitbull, Esau Cruz, has a little bit of that style. They're very muscular, tight. They're shorter in their division. So it works best for them. But if you do not know what you're doing with the Peekaboo style, try not to emulate it as much. Remember, it's for shorter people in their weight classes. And at the same time, if you do not have a trainer that doesn't know what they're doing in teaching you that style, or you think you're just gonna try something new in sparring or in the gym, it's not gonna work in the way you think it is. Number 3, fighting like a Prince Nassim or a Roy Jones Jr. with your hands completely down, your chin is exposed, you letting your ego take over you, and you think you can just go around the ring and do this without realizing you getting yourself in a position where you can truly taste the canvas, where you can truly taste the pavement. And I don't want that to happen to you, because by you baiting in with your chin being all out there and your hands being down, you may not necessarily have the speed, you may not necessarily have the reflexes, and just the basics down, you are going to get hurt. So this only works for a person that knows what they're doing when they're doing that style. So if you're doing that style, again, build up to it over time. Test yourself in sparring. See if you have a chin, and if you are able to take a punch to the head. I'm not saying it's good to take a punch to the head, but sometimes you want to test that theory on yourself to see if you're able to take one. Now, if you're not, do not do it. If you don't have cat-right reflexes, do not do this style. If you do not have stamina, do not do this style. If you're not slick and elusive, do not do this style. You will get hurt. And then lastly, number 4, fighting in this high guard position and not moving. You're just staying right there. I don't know that's another thing I see a lot in the amateurs too. A lot of people, they stick with the super high guard, winky right type style without even realize they're copying him and using that style to try to dictate the fight. And if you're just flat-footed and you're not doing nothing in this style and you're not thinking about what it is that you're doing, you leave your body open and susceptible to getting hit and getting hurt. And at the same time, you're just staying there taking a lot of damage to the head, because even if you're blocking, you're still taking maybe 40 to 60% of that damage, depending on how hard that person hit. So a lot of people sometimes get stuck just staying in this winky right type style, just like, oh yeah, I could come in. They don't have a chin. Oh yeah, they don't have the stamina to just keep their hands up and thinking that this is gonna work and try to hurt them, okay? The name of the game is to hit and not get hit. Not neglecting the fundamentals, the basics as far as footwork, keeping your hands up at all times, and making sure your head is not there to be seen, all right? So if you're jabbing, you're moving back. You're jabbing, you're moving out the way, and you're constantly switching up your angles, okay? You're making it hard for your opponent to see what it is that you're gonna do, all right? You're feinting and making them think that you're gonna do something, and you're not. Everything goes into play. You constantly have to switch it up. Find what style works for you, but do not try to emulate styles that you don't really have much history behind and research, because it's only gonna get you hurt. And I don't want you to get knocked out trying to emulate it in sparring because you watched a few fights from that person. You're like, this is my style. This looks awesome. Try your best not to do that. Now, thank you for joining me on this journey to the ultraviolet. And if you liked the video, please comment and subscribe. And if you want to catch more videos like this one, check out this video right here. And always work towards becoming your greatest version.